Hey everyone, and welcome back. A new expansion is here, and tradition means that it is time for the leveling guide. Now, this video will give you all the information that you need to level up quickly in Battle for Azeroth. Now, as always, look, I recommend you take it slow and enjoy yourself on your first run through each of the continents. They are really great, but past that, if you want to level fast, then this is how you do it. And I'm splitting this video into two parts, planning and execution. So, let's just get into the planning. Now, there are loads of things that we can do to increase our leveling speed, and let's just begin with Azeroth Autopilot. So, Cons Legion, the widely used Legion leveling add-on, has been renamed and updated for this expansion, and it's just fantastic. This add-on will give you an optimized route through every zone, and it will ensure that you never miss a quest. It will ensure you move from quest to quest in an efficient manner. The amount of human error that this add-on removes is just insane, and I would recommend it for everyone who wants to level a character fast. It automatically picks up quests, hands them in, does dialogue, skips cutscenes. However, all those functionality that can be turned on and off as you wish. Now, that said, it will only advise you what to do once you're in a zone, so let's just talk a little bit about zone order. Now, to be honest, this isn't massively important, but the zones do have higher, some zones have higher mob densities than others. When you start out BFA, of course, you'll be in a Legion character that's got great gear, which makes you relatively very powerful early on. So, Horde players probably want to go to Vol'dun, then Zuldazar, then Nazmir, and Alliance players probably want to start off in Drustvar, then go to Terragard Sound, and then finally go to Stormsong, but I don't think it's that massively important. But anyway, now that we've got our leveling route planned and the add-on is installed, it's time to prepare our characters. So first up, consumables. There are so many useful consumables in this game. So if you want to run faster, you can use Swiftness, Drainic Speed, or Skystep potions. Drainic Speed also increases your swim speed, which is dead handy to have. And then the plain old Swiftness potion is not as fast, but it's got a longer duration, which means it actually covers more ground. So yeah, you can do that. You can also stock up on Invis potions if you want to use them, but they're not super helpful. Gun shoes are great because they don't share the potion cooldown, but they can be kind of pricey. Engineers can use their nitro boost on their belt as well, and you can also use a looterang if you're an engineer and just put that in a keybind to make looting mobs a bit easier. And then we've got goblin gliders. Both Zandalar and Kulturas have high points that make these super useful, especially since you can fly directly to a quest area. Now, you might not always have as much altitude as you would like, and that can be helped. So first, I actually use the Darkmoon Fair cannon. You can use that, it fires you forward way up in the air. More importantly though, that altitude can then allow you to, once you hit the peak of your projectile arc, use a goblin glider. It's a great combo for getting around. You can also use things like the Falling Flame if you have been lucky with RNG in that, which thankfully back in Mists of Pandaria I was, and I still have my one Falling Flame from all the way back then. Now, if you want the cannon, you can unlock it for getting gold in the second, the harder Darkmoon race and the Powermonger. Can't do that though, because of course the fair just closed, but while you're there, you could also pick up the Checkered Flag for extra mount speed. Now, the topic of mount speed, you won't be able to do this on launch, but you can use a variety of leatherworking and engineering items to buff up your mount, which can do things like remove days and increase movement speed, which is pretty handy. With that done, let's talk about increasing XP. So there's a new 5% XP gem in BFA. It's called an Insightful Rubelite. These, the effect actually seems to stack if it's socketed on different bits of gear. I'm not sure if that's intended. You could say purchase BOE gear with sockets, Legion legendaries, and use a blacksmithing belt socket, but I wouldn't count on it. Now you can also load up on flasks and food to burn off any spare pots you've got lying around from Legion, but I wouldn't really worry about it too much because it's not a tremendous speed increase. Then finally, let's talk about gear. The more gear, the merrier. So geared Legion characters will be super powerful initially. Artifact weapons, sure, they're just a big stat stick, but they're still big. Then legendaries are active until 115. That means that with the two of those, you'll just be really powerful. Now, I would recommend using Kil'jaeden's Burning Wish for AoE DPS, because that'll be great for the large pulls you'll want to be doing. And then I would consider the BOE stuff. So many of them have a speed increase, especially like the leather and the mail ones. They're great. Past this, any DPS increasing legendary is good, and just make sure you don't use a legendary that takes up your head, neck, shoulder, or chest slot, because that's where the Azerite gear and Heart of Azeroth goes. Next, teleportation cloaks. They're just useful to have anyway, but you can purchase them from the gear vendor. The three of them have a separate cooldown. They'll take you back to Stormwind or Orgrimmar. You could use that if you wanted to, say, quickly travel back and use war mode or toggle that on. Now, speaking of war mode, let's talk about war mode. It will be very fast for leveling at the start of Battle for Azeroth. So War Mode faces you into a PvP version of the world, however, it will also give you a 10% bonus to experience, and Blizzard's thinking is that this will offset the time lost to fighting to other players. However, we need to think about the start of Battle for Azeroth. Almost all Horde players are in Zandalar, almost all Alliance players are in Kul'Tiras. So the chances of running into a hostile enemy player in your own continent will be a lot lower than normal, which allows you to reap the benefits of War Mode without the downsides. Now, War Mode will also give you access to 4 PvP talents. Many of these will be nice increases to your damage, which will further decrease your leveling time. So I would recommend doing it. Next, character prep. So with all that stuff done, just have a run over your character. Clear out your bags, clear out your bank, clear out your quest log of all the random junk that's probably lying in there for Legion. This, for the most part, will probably have you being good to go. So when you kick off BFA, you will first pick up your Heart of Azeroth, and then you will get a breadcrumb quest to do your faction's introductory scenario. Now, the good news is that the introductory scenario can be skipped on alts, just like the Battle for Lordaeron, so that's pretty good, and do the Battle for Lordaeron before launch so that you can skip it. Once this is done, though, you will have a short quest line in Borealis or Zuldazar that will lead you to the mission table. From there, you want to select your first zone. Simply select a zone and get going. Azeroth Autopilot will kick in, and you'll just be off to the races. Now, as you quest through BFA, you'll get dungeon quests. These reward a massive stack of experience, so personally, I would recommend doing them. Now, island expeditions do open up during leveling, but I would recommend waiting for endgame because they don't really have great experience in my view. Now, the war campaign will appear once you hit level 118, and you can do the war campaign at any time, and it is probably a lower XP per hour activity than regular questing. However, you've got to do it anyway because it unlocks quests on the other factions' continents. So, and it also unlocks like the expansion's upgraded Flightmaster's whistle. So, look, if you're not wanting a server first, then do it. I really think you should do it. It's just worth doing it now because, yeah, you could do it later for nothing, or you could do it now and actually get XP. So you may as well do it now. Now, this will also begin your war campaign research earlier, which is another nice bonus. Now, as you level, you'll get gear drops. Normally, you just DE or vendor these, but not in BFA. You want to take these to the scrapper in your faction's capital. This will get you a nice pile of materials, which will be quite good for, say, crafting some of the higher end gear or Warfront turn-ins, or just making some money. Now, in terms of other things, well, unfortunately, it is not worth specifically seeking out treasures and rares. There is not much XP to them, and the rares drop gear that is scaled to your level once, so it's worth clearing them at endgame if you wanted some very early starter gear. Now, you could just move on to the next zone after you hit friendly with your current one, so you can hit friendly with all 3 of your zone factions, which makes you get the Flightmaster's Whistle achievement. Now, that's probably not something you have to worry about, and you'll likely hit Honored with one faction while leveling, which is great because you'll get a 325 Epic Cloak. More about that in my gearing guide, though, which will come out soon. And really, this stuff is enough to take you to endgame, but I think what we really need to talk about is mindset, because players who play with an aggressive mindset will level so much faster. It's ridiculous. The difference between constantly multi-pulling and AoEing things down versus killing enemies 1 or 2 at a time is tremendous. I mean, quests will literally take fast players like less than half the time that it would take a normal player to do them. And it's really easy to zone out and play the game passively. But if you constantly challenge yourself to go faster, you will be a lot faster. There's so many examples of this. Like, your class cooldowns should always be on cooldown if you're questing and in combat. So many people just forget to use them. Look, all of this like preparation and consumables and stuff, they're only worth doing if you're actually going to use them. Now, personally, I find enjoyment in treating it like a bit of a speed run, and look, yeah, I just can't overstate how important this bit is. There's no silver bullet that guarantees super fast leveling without you putting the work in. You really do just have to put the work in, and if you do, it's possible to hit 120 within 6.5 hours, actually sometimes faster, based off numbers from the beta. Now, as for me, I'm going to go mad on my first character because I want to get it to endgame for work purposes, and then I'm probably going to do another alt in a more chilled out fashion. But that really is it. This is probably a bit less glorious than some other of the leveling guides that I've done because, to be honest, Azeroth Autopilot has the best route. I can't beat it, and it delivers it in such a perfect way that is so much better than learning a route from a video. Just use Azeroth Autopilot. It's absolutely amazing. And yeah, once again, you know, they've taken another expansion and just nuked leveling using that, just like what they did with Khans Legion. So it's a really impressive bit of work. And really, it's just having that tool and then doing all of the other best practices like consumables and properly just playing the game like really actively that will allow you to make the best use of the opportunity that is afforded to you by Azeroth Autopilot and its amazing route. So, there you go. That is my leveling guide to Battle for Azeroth. Is what I will personally be doing. A massive thank you to you for watching this video, and a massive thank you to everyone over on Patreon for supporting the channel over there. There's behind the scenes, and there's vlogs, and there is early access normally, but to be honest, things have been completely just day by day lately in the channel, so that should return to normal pretty soon. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.